All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Planning Commission to order for July 12th, 2022. First, we will take a moment of silent prayer or meditation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Commissioner Hang.
Okay, please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Paulina, roll call, please.
Good evening, Chair and fellow commissioners. Commissioner Hing. Commissioner Williams.
present.
Commissioner Becerra.
Here.
Vice Chair Gutierrez.
Here.
And Chair Lewis.
Here. All right. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Tonight we have minutes from the regular Planning Commission meeting on June 28th, 2022. Does anyone have any changes? Hearing none. The only thing I would like to note for the record is since I was not present, I am not voting in favor or against, so I'm abstaining as to the minutes. But other than that, they are approved as submitted. Would anyone like to speak on any item not on the agenda? Okay, hearing none. We'll move forward. We have one matter on the consent calendar this evening. Do I have a motion to approve in a second?
I'll motion.
Okay. We have a motion by Vice Chair Gutierrez. Do we have a second? I will second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Gutierrez, seconded by Chair Lewis. Commissioner Hing.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Becerra.
Aye.
Vice Chair Gutierrez.
Aye.
And Chair Lewis.
Aye.
Yeah.
All right. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on, we have no public hearings tonight, so we're going to move on to non-hearing items. Item 3, initiation of Code Amendment number 22-04. Who will be reading the staff report?
Planning Manager Joanne Burns will be providing the report.
Good evening, Honorable Chair, members of the Planning Commission. The item before you is a code initiation to hopefully establish shopping cart containment standards and requirements. The city has been experiencing an increase of abandoned and misused shopping carts littering city streets. With this proposed code amendment, what staff wishes to accomplish is to develop standards that would make businesses that utilize shopping carts or any type of cart responsible for containing their own property. These are on the projector are examples of photographs of carts that have been abandoned that has been observed throughout the city. This was just taken today. If the Planning Commission wishes to initiate this, it wishes to initiate a code amendment pertaining to shopping carts, staff will present a draft ordinance to the Planning Commission at a later time, sometime within the next 1 to 2 months. With this, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 22-6110 initiating Code Amendment 2204. If the Planning Commission has any questions, staff is available to answer.
I'll now open this up for discussion and any questions. Anyone have any comments or questions at this juncture?
Yes, Target has that, yes. But not all grocery stores have that particular technology. Yes, if that's one of the items that we can incorporate into the draft code amendment to require that or something similar to it.
Well, there's a way around it because the Stater Brothers on Azusa has that. And I actually observed someone knew how to get around it. And they were able to take the cart and leave. So, yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Vice Chair Gutierrez?
so right now there's no ordinance for baskets, grocery baskets.
No.
Oh, okay.
And also part of the code, I guess the draft ordinance would be to state that abandoned shopping carts would be a nuisance. But however, that's not in the zoning code, so that's not under the Planning Commission's purview. That would be included in the ordinance that would be reviewed by the City Council.
I know some cities have a mandatory for like grocery stores or whoever has baskets to pay for a service to pick them up, and if they don't, they them themselves could be fined for failing to pick up.
The draft ordinance, staff is envisioning the draft ordinance to contain such language that would allow the city to cite or impose fees on abandoned shopping carts.
Okay.
Yeah, because my understanding in the past, the carts cost quite a bit. And when they are removed from the different stores and things, of course, to recover the cost, they pass that on to their customers.
I believe Stater Brothers has that on their carts. You go a certain distance and they lock.
Let me ask you this. The people who took the cart out of the shopping center are not accountable? So we're making the shop owners accountable for their shopping cart taking out of their property? I mean, if we were to see people pushing the cart, I don't know, a mile from the stores, is there a consequence to that?
I think with some cities, their law enforcement agencies have made it kind of clear they don't want to be chasing down people. And actually, earlier today, the one apartment that's being shown, Camera Park, across the street, there was a cart just by itself. As I walked towards the end of where that apartment complex was, someone was coming out of the apartment complex and they were pushing a cart with their stuff.
Right. I agree with Commissioner Hang that they shouldn't be punished, that they can't be enforced by any other authority. But maybe that they should implement the lock system on their carts.
I think ideally it would be to create a system where the carts stay on the property and are not able to be snuck off.
Right. And usually other cities also have, as a part of their ordinance, they want the store to be responsible for having a company to retrieve the carts because they do end up perhaps even a distance from where the store is.
Any other questions or comments at this juncture? Actually have a question for the city attorney on this. My understanding is that state law prohibits certain ordinances that would require retrieval prior to, I think, 72 hours. I think that's what the current state of the law is. I can't recall if that's been since amended, but I know it was at one point the law. And so I'm just trying to figure out, are there any limitations to the types of things that we can do due to the fact that the state has already preempted us on certain issues in this regard?
Well, it's certainly something we'd look into. I haven't done any preliminary research on this yet because staff is still working on their first draft. But that's definitely the type of questions that would be answered before bringing it to you.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. And then just sort of, I think, question for staff. I don't know who initiated or who placed this on the agenda, but my question is, what is the underlying intent, at least as far as staff is concerned? Is it to regulate businesses more closely with regard to the carts? Is it to provide more regulatory oversight with regard to individual people who decide to abscond with carts from private property, or is it some combination of the two? What's the idea behind this?
Chair Lewis, I think at the end of the day, the city's goal is to keep the shopping carts on the properties and not be scattered and found at our parks, on our streets, on our sidewalks. We really want them to be used for the purpose that they're intended to.
Okay, so
We don't want them to be a nuisance in our community.
all right. So are we going to invite the cart narcs into town and have them harass people? I don't know. I'm just, again, to me it just seems. I don't know. As much as I see this as a problem, I'm just skeptical of things that we are going to be able to do short of just annoying business owners and frankly making it less desirable to do business in Los Angeles County than it already is. And that's my only concern in that regard. Ultimately, I think most of the entities that have shopping carts are usually larger businesses, but I think we just have to make sure whatever we do strikes a balance and considers potentially an impact on small businesses. I'm not aware of any small businesses out there that have shopping carts like this, but I think we should get an idea as to what kind of impact we're going to have on smaller businesses within the city, to the extent that there are any that have carts, and if it's bigger businesses, well, is that just going to exacerbate the problem, meaning that there's going to be less and less competition because of the fact that, well, guess what? Larger businesses are capable of doing one thing: hiring more and more people to deal with issues of compliance, hiring attorneys like me. That to me is manifestly unfair, but, again, I could go on a political diatribe, but I'll defer to the rest of my colleagues if they have anything else.
Yeah, when you bring back the report, if you could also have some comparisons of the local cities like Covina and the city of La Puente or Susa and so forth.
Yeah, Covina has had their ordinance
I would
for a
have
while.
thought so, yeah.
So you can actually see the updates that they've made, I guess, with the changes in the laws. But that was one thing that became a problem because they initially tried having their public works people go and collect the carts, take them to the city yard, contact the businesses, and ask them to come and get them. And so,
I guess how many carts are we talking about city-wise?
I don't have that number off the top of my. Are you asking how many carts there are? How many carts we find in the streets and our parks,
Yes.
and our sidewalks?
That's an increase. It's an interesting numbers to know. It's just I understand that you are telling us that it's a citywide issues, but where are they predominantly? City parks?
In District 1, 2, 3, and 4.
you can almost go to where we have grocery stores.
Correct.
And just as a Ganter, I just went around to several different, and I began, here was 2, then there was 4, and I said, oh my goodness. And so when it got to 11, I said, well, and there were Target carts, there were grocery carts, there were carts from other businesses that have carts that are left on the sidewalk.
Well, there's nothing you can do like for groceries. People leave with, the grocery cart packed, but like look at Ross. Ross has the pole that shoots it. The cart will not leave. They just have to take their bag.
You can't even exit
Yeah,
from
they can't
the
take it
store, right?
outside of the store.
Makes you mad sometimes, but you have to carry all the stuff.
And I think the service they
it
pay
does work.
for, yeah. And I think the service that like these grocery stores pay for is from a company that does it from multiple stores. So when they're combining services, it's more cost efficient. Because I believe the vehicle goes around into different areas and picks it up as they see them, and they load them onto their truck, and then they deliver them back to the stores.
Doesn't the city have an exclusive contractor for this?
We previously did. We no longer have the contractor, and that's also an increase in locating shopping carts throughout the community. As Commissioner Williams mentioned, it does then become the burden on city staff to be picking up carts, calling the shop, the
Businesses.
the businesses, and then dealing with the pickup of the shopping carts from our facilities. So this would be a way for us to, an understandably very good point, Chair Lewis, that we don't want this to become something where we're discouraging businesses from doing, business in our community. We want to welcome them to our city and help them be successful here in West Covina. So there is a balance, but if it's their shopping cart, it's their property, and we need to work with them. And like Commissioner Williams mentioned, there are cities surrounding us, and we will have a list, Vice Chair Gutierrez, of cities around us that have those kinds of ordinances and what kind of ordinances they have that we, would like to include here in West Covina.
Anything else? Any other questions, comments? All right. If not, I'll entertain a motion and second to initiate a code amendment.
I'll second that.
Whose motion?
I thought you motioned it. I'll motion it. I'll make a motion to approve.
To initiate the code amendment, right?
I make a motion for the initiation of code amendment number 22-04 for the general exemption study.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Gutierrez and a second by Commissioner Williams. Roll call, please.
I have a motion by Gutierrez, seconded by Lewis, to approve resolution number 22-6110. I'm initiating the code amendment number 22-04. Commissioner Heng?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Becerra?
Aye.
And Vice Chair Gutierrez?
Aye.
And then Chair Lewis?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1.
This matter will be considered by the Commission at a study session on a date to be determined. Moving on to Commissioner reports and comments and miscellaneous items. Does anyone on the Commission have anything to report or comment on? Seeing none, I'm going to move on to the Community Development Director's report. Paulina, do you have any items to report to the Commission?
Good evening. I have a couple items, if you bear with me. We are continuing our summer concert series. We have the Electric Vinyl, which is classic rock, tomorrow here at City Hall in the courtyard. It starts at 7 p.m. And then, I don't know if you guys are aware, our very first summer concert series had to get postponed due to the storm. So Cold Duck was rescheduled to August 10th at 7 o'clock here at the courtyard. Our community service staff is also hosting a Beat the Heat water activity. So it's water days at the park on Fridays. The next one is this July 15th, 11:30 a.m. to 2:30. And this Fridays will be at Del Norte. The last event will be at Cameron Park, which is July 29th. The next Planning Commission will be canceled, so July 26th we will not have a Planning Commission meeting. We will see you guys in August. And then the City Council meeting on August 2nd is also going to be canceled due to National Night Out. So if you guys have a community neighborhood watch, we hope you guys participate. We will also be having a kickoff at the Plaza West Covina. All information will be on the city website if anyone is interested in attending.
And if you could also email the commissioners those dates.
We will do that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to City Council actions. Paulina, are there any City Council actions you'd like to speak to the Commission about?
No items. Thank you.
Moving on, since we have no further business to discuss, the meeting is adjourned at 7:20 p.m.